The only thing you can say after you get done at that college is, I made some jump shots, I dunked the ball, I ran a touchdown, I hit a home run. Is that the only thing that you can say? In fact, if that is the only thing that other people can say about you, then congratulations. You've just lost. You've just wasted your time of being a student athlete. I wish someone would have told me the things I'm about to tell you right now about being a student athlete. The beginner's guide of being a student athlete.
Hoop loud, you.
Yes, indeed. Big Brother Bear here to give you all that you want and what you need. Before I get started, I'll say this. This video will only be for the things that are dealing with academics. I'm going to put out another video, and that's going to be more along the lines of outside the game of whatever game you play. But today, I'm just going to focus on academics. The first thing you need to know as far as being a student athlete is, even though everybody knows your name on the basketball team, everybody doesn't know your name in your class. So what you need to do is meet with your professor. Go meet your professor so they can put a name to face and know that you actually care about whatever class you're in. You should do that the first week, but you should do that often. Meet with your professor and so you can build up a rapport with that person. The last thing you want to do is reach out to your professor only when you need something. They can feel that. They can smell it in the air. They don't want that, all right? So you want to make sure you meet with your professor beforehand. Introduce yourself and tell them why you're taking the class. And don't say just because I got to be here. Seem genuine about the subject matter, and it'll go a long way. Number two, listen to me. We're talking about college right now, okay? Read your syllabus. Read your syllabus. There are some courses that you're going to take that you don't need to necessarily read the book. It's a waste of time, but it's never a waste of time to read the syllabus. Read the syllabus all the time. All the time. Read it multiple times, all right? Because many times they tell you what you need to know right in the syllabus. What you need to read, what you need to bring to class, what's expected of you, when tests is going to be. Read your syllabus. If anything, make copies of your syllabus so in case you lose one. Read your syllabus. And if you want to get some little brownie points, mention something that you read in the syllabus in casual conversation with your professor. Blows their mind because you read the syllabus. Number three, listen. Some people may not agree with this, but I'm just going to tell you what I think you need to know, and that is, do not buy the book. Don't think that you need to buy the book. It depends on whatever course you're taking. Try to be smart about this thing, right? If there's some people on the team or in that class that have the book, see if there's something y'all can work out that maybe you can share a book. Maybe I'll pay a little bit of it. Maybe I can photocopy some pages. Something, right? But don't buy the book just out of I need to buy the book. But if you do need to buy the book, the name of the game is buy it ahead of time. Look at your schedule in the summertime. Get those books then. All right? Do not wait till the last minute to buy a book. And if you have to buy a book, you better not ever buy it in the bookstore. It's highway robbery is what it is. Don't buy that book from the bookstore, man. Don't do it to yourself. They're going to bust your head to the white meat. Do not buy your books from the bookstore. That sounds bad, don't it? Oftentimes they're overpriced. Oftentimes they'll charge you more than what they need to charge you. And then when it's time to sell the book back to them at the end of the semester or the end of the year, you pay for a book for $110, you may get $5 back, okay? So keep that in mind. If you have to buy a book, do it ahead of time. Look at things like Chegg and other websites. Do your research. But the name of the game is don't buy a book. See if you need to buy that book for that classroom. And if you absolutely have to have a book, then see if you can borrow somebody's book or something like that. Here's the thing. If you know anything about Big Brother Bell, you should know that I'm all about being accountable for your own actions. I'm all about understanding that your coach, who may be genuine, may help you out, may help you as far as classes are concerned, it's your job. It's your job, no one else's job, to make sure you're in the right classes. So make sure that you're in the right class. Don't let anybody gloss over you as telling you, oh, well, my coach got me. This is the thing that I hate. You want to get under my skin? You want to get under my skin? Tell me this in public and watch me chop you in the throat. Hey man, I don't know about my schedule, but my coach got me in my class. Yo, coach got you in your class. Say it again so I can. Yo, coach, how can your coach have you in anything when it's your future is going to be affected, not your coach's? You may not even know your coach's name 5 years from now, 10 years from now. You may not ever see them. I haven't seen any of my coaches that I haven't seen any of my coaches when I played in college, high school, none of that. It's your job. It's your job. So make sense of these classes you're putting in. They can recommend you be in some classes, and you can be in those, classes. But my thing is, it should make sense to you while you're in those classes to align with your degree plan. You should make sense of it. Not your coach, not your guidance counselor, not your advisor. It's your job. It's going to affect you and your family after you get done graduating, because you're going to graduate, right? So yes, it's your job, nobody else's job. And I'll also add on to this. When I say know what class you're being put in, know your numbers as well. What do I mean by that? If you are a beneficiary of financial aid, any type of Pell Grant and things like that, you should know how much it is. You should know what it covers. You should know the disbursement dates. You should know this stuff. Not your coach. You should know this. Whether you're getting your education paid for or not, you got to know this. You got to understand that though everyone's want to recommend things for you and be in your corner when it's convenient to them, okay? You gotta make sure that you gotta make sure that it all makes sense to you. So whether it's the financial aid, if you got financial aid, if it's your Pell Grant, if you have Pell, if it's your scholarship, if you got scholarship, if you got a grant, if you have all that stuff, it has to make sense to you. If it does not make sense to you, tell them jokers to tell you again. Explain it to me again, because I don't understand it. It needs to make sense to you of what classes you're in. Is it going to get me? Is it going to get me to where I need to go on my career plan? Pay attention to detail. It is on you. Don't try to blame it on anybody. This is your future. I don't care what they recommend. It needs to make sense to you. So sit down, study, and figure out what you need to take as far as figure out what class you need to take, why you need to take them, and make sure that these numbers make sense to you as well. There's a certain amount of classes that you would take, credit hours you would take in order to be classified as full-time. Maybe many universities it's about 12 hours. 12 credit hours equates to you being a full-time student. What does that mean? When it comes to scholarships, when it comes to grants, when it comes to any type of aid, when it comes to eligibility as far as being on a team or whatnot, typically you have to have you need to be a full-time student, okay? If you're a full-time student, let's say you just take 12 credit hours, and you flunk a class, or you need to drop a class, and you drop a class, it's 3 credit hours, you drop that class, and now you're at 9 credit hours, guess what? That blows everything out of whack. That throws everything off. So what you need to do is this. Make sure that you give yourself some cushion. Okay, so if your coach is paying, so say you have to do 12 credit hours, right? If your coach is paying, then you definitely need to have like 18 hours, right? Because he's paying, she's paying, you're fine. If you're paying out of your own pocket, because not all student athletes are full ride, but understand that these credit hours matter. It kind of goes back to my previous point about knowing your numbers. This is part of your numbers as well. The credit hours that you take. What classes equate to what credit hours? How many of this do you need to take? You need to know this stuff. This is a lot of stuff that's going to be thrown your way as far as being a student athlete. But when you start thinking about this, and using this video as a guide, your eyes have become open. You realize that you just can't live frivolous and be thinking about, oh, well, everything will work out. They'll take care of me. Because let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. It's easy to be taken care of when you're offering them something. When you're offering the university something, oh yeah, you're going to have tons of people in your corner having you in classes like blowing bubbles and how to put frosting on the top of the cupcake. You got plenty of people do that for you. But when your eligibility is lost, when your eligibility is exhausted, and you ain't dunking the ball no more, you're not running up and down 94 feet, you ain't shooting threes anymore, you ain't doing that anymore, guess what? All those resources that you have, they're not gonna be waiting on your doorstep for you to come take care of it. That's what won't happen, okay? Let me tell you what won't happen, all right? So I want you to get in the mindset of thinking on your own independently and making sure that it makes sense to you. Making sure it makes sense to you. Another point I'll give you as far as studying, create the culture of studying. Now, if you've seen my video that I had with Cooper Cook coming out of Nebraska Wesleyan, the guy that had a 4.0 at the same time they won a national championship in college basketball, one thing that I pulled away from that video was this. He said that he studied in between the gaps of classes. Now, if you're anything like me, your big brother Bell was sleeping. I was sleeping between classes. I have a class at 8 a.m., then I have a class at 10 a.m., Those 2 hours, I'm sleeping. I'm knocked out. Don't do that. Cooper Cook said, use those times to study, because if you do that, at the end of the night, you don't have to study as much because you've already been taking bite-sized bites along the way. It makes a huge difference. So what I'm telling you is, create a culture of studying aside from what your coach has. See, your coach may have you do a study hall, and all that means is you go to an empty room, put your cell phone in the basket, and look at a book. What I'm telling you is, your standard should always be tougher on yourself than your coach puts on you. Always. Whether it's athletically, whether it's academically, it should always be harder. If it's not, you're only gonna tighten up when your coach is around. So you're really cheating yourself, okay? So, listen to me. This video offers so much value. If you don't think it offered you value, that means you need to watch it again. Okay? Nobody on the internet is putting out this information. I'm giving you this information for the free. So as always, whether it's on the court or off, in the classroom or out, graduate at the top of your class. Hoop loudy. Now listen, today I'm only going to give you information as it relates to the academic portion of you being a student athlete. There's the athletic side of it, there's a social side of it, and I'm going to get to that. But today I'm going to give you the beginner's guide of being a student athlete. Something that's long overdue. Take out your pen and pad and get to writing down this information, because I tell you what, if I would have known some of this stuff, I would have been a bad man. But some of these things I didn't know, I had to go through it the hard way. I had to figure this stuff out. I had to fall in some potholes. It cost me a lot of money, cost me a lot of time, cost me a lot of tears, cost me a lot of heartache. But your big brother Bell loves you, and I'm about to give you this for the free.